everybody, and welcome to Music Real Talk with Marbin. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe. Whee!
What episode are we on?
This is episode 25, I think. 25?
I don't know.
25, episode 25. All right. Hello.
That's a lot of time already.
Hello, everybody.
It's 100 weeks.
Is it?
No.
Nobody knows.
It's 100 days.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
25 times 4, why do it?
Why is it time? Yeah.
It makes no sense.
I don't know.
Double it
We
by
can't.
4.
If we could count, we wouldn't be
I'm
musicians.
tired. No, it's 25 weeks, obviously, because it's once a week.
Sure.
But if you double it by 4, you get 100.
And that's a meaningless number in this context.
No.
Anyways, we got canceled, kind of, on Instagram.
Is
What
it
the
still
fuck?
going on? We didn't-
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
for real?
just so you guys know what it feels like to be canceled as a fusion band and what it
You didn't like it, did you, Danny?
I did not like it, no. But the way it looks
Wait,
is
so we
this.
don't have
One
an
day-
Instagram account right now?
No, we don't. Yeah, it's been removed. And one morning you wake up and you go to log in to Insta and check out these, hot chicks and little boys shredding and attempt to solidify this Pavlovic reaction to create a pedophile. I think that's why I don't know if this is why we're canceled. Probably not. But you go to log in and it says you have violated the community, the commune's terms, and now the comrades have taken your access privilege, and all of your posts have been removed.
But what did you really discover of that?
And then
don't
you
go-
can't log in, and you can't write anybody, and there's no number to call.
No, New York Times don't write about it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Fox News don't call you.
But nobody's covering it.
You're not
Yeah,
on
there's no-
Taco,
there's no
and you're not
altercation.
in the Washington Post.
Yeah, you just disappear
It
from the
just-
platform.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah,
if
it's
you're not really famous.
Yeah.
it's worse to be cancelled when you're not really famous. Because if you're
Well, I
famous,
mean, it's okay. It's not. I mean, that was. I mean,
yeah, what
it's
if
not
it's,
okay.
Yeah, what if it's happened on Facebook? They
That
do
would
own
be
them.
terrible. But yeah, I think they don't even tell you what you did. So I think it must have been one of the strikebacks. Something I said. I don't know. It must have been something I said. But it's so weird.
Gypsy Jazz.
Yeah, Gypsy Jazz. That's right. We got canceled. The fucking gypsies came after us. A horde of Romanis somehow figured out how to go online and canceled us. No, I don't know what's going on.
I'm guessing it's that. Well,
Probably.
they took down the Dr. Seuss book because of Eskimo. So,
Yeah, when they came for the Eskimos, I stayed silent.
that's the one thing I don't get. Some of the words that I don't get, because I read about it. I remember the first time I went to Canada.
You're not supposed to say Eskimo?
No, you say Inuit.
Inuit.
Yeah, but
It sounds like dimwit to me.
no, it's not.
Yeah. Eskimo.
I
I
am
find
you,
Eskimo less offensive. Yeah.
Well, it just, both words make no sense to me.
Oh my God. Well, anyways, we are canceled. This is the beginning of the
I just
end.
love an Ed Bargatze joke I told you, that they call him First Nation. It's like, I don't know.
Oh, the First Nation.
Yeah.
There's probably somebody there before them. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I don't remember how he said it, but it's great and I couldn't find it. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you can find an Ed Bargatze joke, send it to us, please.
Yeah. How do you
I saw the Tim Dillon thing again.
which one?
It was just like over YouTube on my,
About that late night?
about the late night shows. And it has a bunch of dislikes. And I was like, who?
Who dislikes it?
dislikes
The
this?
people that like Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Fallon, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
For those of you who haven't seen it, it's very recommended.
Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon talking about late night shows. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel about being canceled? Could you believe that? Did you think that it would ever reach us at any capacity?
Yeah, but not the Instagram account like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Because it's not really been cancelled. It's not being cancelled. I think has to do with a lot of people also being mad at you.
yeah, I think
But
that's
maybe
Twitter.
it's not.
That's just, yeah, but I don't know. What did we do that violated the terms? Because other than the strikebacks, it was just pictures of us hanging out at Chipotle and some videos of like fusion.
Again, saying gypsy can be that. Like if one person actually reports it.
How about all the Palestinian post kind of things?
We didn't. Did we have any?
Lots.
Oh,
Like somebody said free Palestine and I wrote back free Willie. And then he said, "You clearly don't care about the rights of oppressed people." And I
Oh, I
say, "You
remember
clearly
with
don't care
Tahini.
about orcas."
Yeah, I remember, but it was so old. But I guess you do it for stuff also. I
Yeah.
doubt it's that. Actually, no.
No. Yeah.
I don't think it's that.
I don't know. I still want them to free Willy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the gypsy. It has to
Gypsy?
be, yeah. Because
So
we
are
tried
they
to
gonna-
don't you remember we tried to have a page named Gypsy Jazz or something a few years ago and we couldn't do it
Violation.
because of Gypsy, yeah. Of rules. And
Yeah.
that was like 5 years ago or something.
Very bizarre.
I
It's a
know.
strange feeling. I mean, the funny thing is that there's just nothing you can do. You know, it's just
Yeah, but there's nobody to talk to. That's the great thing about
build your own
Facebook.
platform, lay your own cable, build your own MacBook.
Yeah. No, that's a great thing about Facebook. And we know it just because we had some issues with our page. And there is nobody to talk to, which is insane.
Right. Yeah.
It's like even if you pay the money. Like if we saw, somebody said the New York Times how much we spent on the 1619 project to advertise, and it was like millions of dollars on one series of articles. Or I don't know, was it series of articles? Was it one?
I think it was one essay kind of thing, and it
Just one? It has to be long, because,
it was a long one, but they spent like $20 million.
yeah, on one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no wonder Facebook. No, it's like we spent like $100 to promote an event, and it's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
yeah,
pretty bad.
20 million. So
Anyway.
the New York Times maybe have somebody to talk to. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should call the New York Times and say there's been an injustice. Yeah. Anyways, I saw some crazy shit this week online that I want to talk about. First of all, it started with me something I mentioned
This
last
shirt
week.
is so weird.
What shirt?
Your shirt.
Pineapples?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a new thing? Like you're super into it?
I'm super into pineapples. They're delicious. Really good. They're-
When did it start?
I just, I had one. I learned
And
how
you
to
had to
cut
get a
it,
shirt?
and I had to get a shirt with a golden pineapple in the middle.
Okay. It's not in the middle.
So now
obviously.
you know. Well, I mean, any serious pineappler knows you don't put the golden one in the middle.
Yeah.
But anyways, I went down a Barry Harris YouTube rabbit hole. First of all, there is a whole subculture of Barry Harris's students. A lot of them play guitar, not piano.
Really?
Yeah. That just
Makes
have
sense.
like so many episodes about explaining his system. Like if you have a system,
Well, guitar
that-
players. Wait, side note. Guitar players in jazz, for some reason, the last thing wanna sound like is guitar players. So they're like, oh, I'm gonna be like a pianist.
Yeah, there's
and
a strange
and
inferiority.
a saxophonist or something.
There's a strange inferiority complex with guitar players in jazz.
Because most guitar players just sucked. That's why.
Yeah, that's true.
And-
They're
and-
heroes.
And Django, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Django is not.
Django's not.
It's not a part of
I
it.
just saw top 10 guitarists and they didn't mention Django.
Who did we mention? Eric
At
Clapton?
number one was Charlie Christian.
Oh, it was jazz guitarist?
Yeah, it was pianists talking about the top 10 jazz guitarists, and they said number
Top 10
one
is so good for...
Number one is Charlie Christian.
Okay.
Which is
number one
crazy.
at what?
I don't know, it being their favorite.
Okay.
And
Lies. Okay.
yeah, number two was Herb Ellis.
Okay.
Because he played with Oscar Peterson's
Yeah, I know
trio.
Herb Ellis.
I know you do, but it's like they didn't pick Joe Pass, who also played in this trio, just much better. It's so they're like he grooved like a drummer. It's like he did not groove like a drummer. He did a lot of things.
Okay, who else? Who else was on
So
this list?
number
Number two
three
is number 10.
was Grant Green,
Okay.
which I just don't like.
I know.
Number four is Wes Montgomery, which I felt was good. After that, they went straight to Pat Metheny. And then like the last couple were just like their friends from New York.
Oh, really?
It's just this is
No
bizarre.
George Benson.
No, they skipped over a lot.
That's so strange.
is
Because you're thinking it's George Benson.
Anyways,
maybe.
I don't, I'm gonna lay into just random shit on YouTube enough. It's just become so stupid. But so yeah, it started because there was this young guy who put out an hour video about like teaching Barry Harris's method, and he did all the examples really perfectly on the guitar, which is not easy to do. You have to know a lot of voicings, you have to move things around, and then I was just Googling to see if I can find him playing something, and I could only find him playing like a video in high school in 2012 that just sounded
Like high school.
like a high school kid that likes jazz that's not very good at it yet. Who knows what it will become? But he basically had to have either played no gigs or scoured the internet to take down any example of him playing.
I think most people scour the internet because there are a few people that teach a lot, and you can't find anything of him playing.
Well,
I
that's
remember,
the
I
amazing
remember
thing.
when Justin Bieber became famous, and he was already on talking about Jimmy Kimmel, was on all the talk shows and everything.
You couldn't find him
and we
live.
couldn't find him. Yeah, we couldn't find anything of him doing music because I don't remember why we looked for it. It was when we did a video with Justin Bieber picture of what was it? What's the name of the song? On last chapter of Dreaming.
Which one?
The one that's like Special Olympics. On the Square.
On Square. Yeah.
So we did a video of On the Square, just picture of Justin Bieber, and said that he's Justin
you
Bieber
couldn't
shredding on
believe,
drums.
right? To try to make it go viral, just lying that it's
It
Justin
didn't.
Bieber. Yeah, it did not.
We also did it with 2 songs with
Pat Metheny?
Yeah, Way to Riches and Purple Fiddle, and said it was Pat Metheny upcoming album.
Yeah, because he had an
Lake
upcoming
songs,
kin.
and it said it on the bottom. It said it was Marbin, Purple Fiddle, the auto-generated ads or whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. That didn't work so well either.
Some people got mad.
Yeah, some people were like, this isn't Pat Metheny. And they're like, no, it's us.
But now you're a fan.
We fooled you.
Now
today.
you love
Now you love
our
us.
music.
We were young and smart. Yeah. Anyways, the berry hole, the dingleberry. So yeah, he was teaching and playing all these examples perfect, and he was playing them so perfect, and with really a lot of command that you'd think that he would, like the promise was so blaring from the video, like the Pinocchio thing, that like,
Why is it the Pinocchio thing?
well, it's the potential.
That's
Not
Peter
sorry,
Pan.
Peter Pan, not Pinocchio. The Peter Pan thing. It's like it's all you get addicted to the potential, the strength of this. So I was thinking like, oh fuck, I can't find this guy playing. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look up Barry Harris's playing because I don't really know Barry Harris too well. I knew he played on the outtakes of Giant Steps, and I knew he was like a sideman in New York in the '60s and '70s.
Yeah, played a lot of stuff.
And he played with a lot of people. But I was like, I really know some guys. I know Oscar Peterson really well. I know Bud Powell kind of well. I know Michel Petrucciani very well. I know pianists. I feel like I have a pretty extensive palette for piano playing. Let's check him out. And he's not very good. I mean, he's okay, but like the lines when they're playing even like medium tempo stuff, he sounds like he's hanging for dear life. When he's playing ballads and stuff, that system, he's not really doing too much of that in his playing. I mean, he's playing a lot of diminished chords, but this mountain they made out of a molehill, you know what I mean? It's
Well, he became a famous teacher. A lot of people become famous teachers.
but it's when you see the thing he laid forth, like his system, right? And you hear about like the in-depth explanation of it. And there's a big pretense that like all jazz players or good jazz players think about it like that. And you see these people who are kind of playing all the things you are out of time, trying like hanging on for dear life to like this, thinking about like these diminished chords inside the scale and trying to voice lead everything. And they're making like 250 episodes trying to explain some voice leading stuff. It's just so overcomplicated for no good reason.
Well, I think there's an assumption that because Barry Harris was around with people, that he has some sort of key, but you can't always translate. Excuse me, COVID. So you can't always translate what you do. Do you understand? You don't, like even that we really understand what we're doing, it's like you only understand it until a point, and then at some point it's like, why did you go up there? Why do you play this? How do you know to switch the rhythms? Do you understand what I'm saying? There is a point where there is no more explaining. And for every musician and every subject that you talk about, but every musician, there is a point where he can explain what he does, and there is a point where it just does what he does. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's where like the art and you don't really understand everything about what you do. You cannot. It's like there is no explanation for everything, and and people that explain it try to explain it to that level of the no choices. Right? I like not choices in the sense of if I look at my solo that I can explain why I did this. This is the nine. This is that. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I played this rhythm. I just know I have the rhythms that I know how to play. I know the keys. I know I have a lot of tools, and I can break it down to tools, but I can't break it down to anything smaller than that. And people that try to do it, like Barry Harris, for example, it's wrong. And for other people, they don't even understand the tools that they're using. You know?
I know, but as somebody who does understand harmony, the attempt to basically start the whole epistemology of music from scratch, from an arbitrary place, and act like it's the truth is very strange because, pragmatically, it doesn't lead to more good playing. I mean, I still remember, trigger warning, it's going to be some dog whistling going on. There was a conversation between Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson, and they were just arguing what seemed to be over nothing for like hours. And it was a really horrible podcast to listen to because they couldn't even get past point A. And the basic argument between them was Sam Harris was saying that 2 + 2 = 4, and that's the truth, right? And Jordan Peterson was trying to say that in a reality where 2 + 2 = 4 creates less life, then that's not the truth. So the idea is that if it leads to your death, to less survival, then it's not a good truth. So what good is it, right? And it's a hard point. It seems almost silly at face value on one level, but I feel like...
I think it's just, there was a cliche story about it, but it's basically if you look at things in different resolutions, one thing can, from one side, seem like it's completely false or completely true, and then if you look in different resolution, then you see that it's not
exactly.
It's not that obvious.
But this is what I'm saying. So a lot of the Barry Harris stuff is all true, but does it lead to great playing, right? A lot of the ways you can look at theory or at music, you can make these deductions about it from observing that are all true, but people who study it, do they become great players? I mean, there is one...
But the problem with that is that, listen, I didn't teach enough. And my students that I did have didn't practice the stuff I showed them enough. Okay? But I would think, just from what I taught our players that came, like our bass players usually, that at least I can get somebody to play the right notes.
Sure.
Okay? So I don't think I can... I doubt I can get somebody to play great.
Nobody knows
music.
how to create
That's what I'm saying.
great players.
But at least with our systems, I know I can get somebody to at least survive a jazz tune and not sound like not just fall on their face and crash and burn, but it's obvious to everybody.
Well, I'm not saying buy my book instead of his book. I'm not saying I have the answer, but the promise of the answer is the lie. There's it's funny, thank God we have like this whole idea of like playing beautiful, playing well, like it's really beauty that we're going for. And especially now with the kind of cultural cancellation that's been happening. I mean, music is something that, you could say whatever you want about Mozart, but Mozart
was a douche.
But Mozart's music is more beautiful than Stockhausen's. You know what I mean? It's like people, like there's just, we're not immune to beauty. We all can recognize the symmetry and just the simple nature of somebody who's doing that thing well. And it comes in a lot of forms. But what I was saying is that even beauty is a dangerous game. So I always think about what's his name, David Foster Wallace.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know him, he's definitely worth checking out, but it's still very tricky. He has this one great essay or speech he gave, which is "What is Water?" I think it's called.
Also a good movie about him.
Yeah, The End of the Road.
Yeah.
And then he
No,
has
End of Tour.
End of Tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he has Consider the Lobster and Infinite Gist. He's an interesting guy. I love that how What is Water starts, where it's like two fish are swimming around in the ocean, and another fish comes across them, and he goes, "Water's
Older
pretty
fish,
good
yeah.
today." Older fish, and he keeps swimming, and they keep swimming their way, and then one fish turns to the other, and he's like, "What the hell is water?" You know. So the idea is that the most basic and simple truths about life are sometimes the hardest to see, right? Because they're all around you. But anyway, this dude, that speech is basically about the nature of reality and how you can choose what to pay attention to and how you can choose to be happy in a moment and to ignore the bad and focus on the good. But this dude killed himself from depression.
Yeah, shot himself in the head.
Yeah, and this is a tricky thing, right? Here is exactly what I'm talking about. And he's a beautiful writer, genius, really genius on a lot of levels, and also very adaptable to now, which is a rare kind of genius. That it's like it's a beauty that somehow is still relevant, like 21st century, But that led pragmatically to less life. And focus on the beauty all you want, that's not it's not a viable interpretation of reality. A lot of these YouTube lessons, a lot of the Beatos and of the world, beautiful, beautiful explanations. I did see some beautiful explanations for a lot of things, polychords, negative harmony. You can really go down these rabbit holes. You can see the Coltrane system. I love how they draw it on the circle of fifths, like a triangle, like the Egyptians came up with switching these
fifth,
yeah, and you're like, it looks like a sun compass. It's the ultimate truth of music. I found everything, but these motherfuckers can't play over giant steps.
But you see, that's basically what I'm saying. That the good thing about music and the attractive thing about music and the attractive thing about players that we like is that you really can't explain why this is so much better. Like you can say, oh, he plays in time, he does this, but it's like the magic you can't explain. And all those videos, you promise basically to teach the magic. And what I say when I teach, basically, is I'll teach you to be in a place where you can, that I would make the path more clear of where you should search, I guess, right? I would be like, hey, you don't need to search here. You don't need to do all this silly shit. You don't need to do all that stuff. You don't need to look in this, it's making them be able to search better. But you can't explain to somebody, hey, here's my magic. Here, I'll give it to you. I'll tell you the secret to get it. It doesn't work like that.
Well, I mean, it's as if like you have people, the great players are like on a mountain, and then YouTube is a station at base camp, and they go down the mountain all the way, and then the people are there like, how do you get up there? And then they just stand in base camp and talk about the top of the mountain forever, and nobody ever takes the trip.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, but it's like it's always... What I'm saying, it's like people don't understand the limit because they don't think about it. They don't understand the limit of what they know, and they also don't understand what makes them who they are. And and also to me, it's it's like the example I gave with the library. It's like you know what you can use. And when you look online, it's basically people say, hey, that's how I think about stuff. And somebody else, that's how I think about stuff. That's how I think about stuff. And then you look at everybody like, oh, that's the best way because logically it makes the most sense to me. But you still didn't learn anything because you need to find your own. It's like if you look, okay, sorry, I'm thinking it through. So if you look at videos of how to fix your a closet, for example, and somebody said, use this type of hammer. And so, no, this type of hammer. I was like, oh, no, you shouldn't use a hammer. You should use a saw. You should use this. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh, great. I would use a saw. You don't have any of the tools.
Right.
So it's like you can't do the work.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with music. It's like you don't get anything out of it. It's like it's very disheartening to see people.
I can't wait to get back on the road to where we have less time for YouTube and that's less on our minds. But my dad, he's a physics professor, and he told me that in his field, the transition from the blackboard in a lecture to slides to PowerPoint really paved the way for charlatans that know very little about science to all of a sudden become the superstars of the presentation, because the people who can work PowerPoint the best, meaning prepare slides, are usually not, it's not that they're not necessarily the best scientists, they rarely are. People who are really interested in science do science a lot. They sit there and they do whatever the fuck science. I don't know what they do.
That's another Ned Bargatze thing. It's like if you just started science, they ask you, how old is this rock? I don't know, 4 billion years?
Sounds right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah. So they do whatever they do, but I'm sure they don't sit there and, read the PowerPoint instructions and come up with the best, smoothest graphic, way of like creating this beautiful presentation. It's probably the last thing they fucking care
It's not
about.
the type of person too. That's
Right.
another thing. And you can see it on us. We're not the type of people to do high content, high quality content. It's just we try.
It's too time consuming. You have to spend too much time doing shit you hate.
It took us years to do this podcast.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about it for years, and it's tough.
Yeah. Well, podcast is okay because it's very low commitment. It's very low production.
And it still took us forever to do it.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I really want to play. I do the live feed. That's the one thing I found that really doesn't bug me, because I pretty much do what I would do just with a camera on. I'm playing the songs I always play. If I'm learning something, I'm just doing it in front of people, and I'm just improvising and playing some songs and interacting, and that's okay. But that's it works with my character. But to do any sort of sit home and figure out how to edit video.
The problem is I don't feel like it's worthwhile. That's the real problem. So it's like It's like the same with teaching. Some people really like teaching, and some people.
Yeah, it's a
I
nightmare.
just don't. Yeah, it's
they
just,
freeze time.
I just feel like, what are we doing here? It's like
Right.
you're just wasting both of our times. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be. And it's not like every student that I have has to want to be Charlie Parker. That's not the point. The point is that some people are just on some sort of trajectory of figuring stuff out.
Exactly.
And I really do think that figuring stuff out. That's why I think it's great.
Both people need to know why they're there.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you figure stuff out in any realm, I think it helps you in life, generally speaking.
Sure.
Right. So it's like To me, that's why if somebody wants to get into music in high school and be super into it, and I have no problem with people teaching high school jazz, I guess.
Sure.
Because it's like if you want to get into it, you can learn a lot for life, and you can gain a lot of stuff. Like if you can even just be as a listener, gain a lot. So
sure.
So I think it's good. College is a different story, obviously, because there's different pretense that attached to it. But I'm saying, so I don't need everybody that takes lessons with me to be a musician or to shred on saxophone. But there should be some sort of connection to reality in their actions and what they say, and in the connection to me.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I had the experience this week of trying. We talked about me trying to do a series of videos explaining how to play standards. And I got 22 minutes into recording one, and I had to turn off the camera because this is the thing. What if I'm shooting the standard to, let's say, I don't know, somebody on the street that doesn't know anything about jazz, he can't play a standard. Right? It's like I would have to just explain what notes are.
Yeah.
The resolution of it would have to be so.
Yeah, I had a student that I had to explain to an octave. Like, why is it the same note? Because he said, but it's not the same note. And he's right, it's not the same note. It's like, why do you represent it similarly? And I had to explain to him
Right.
why. Right? So if you try to teach somebody like that how to shred over all of me, good luck.
Well, exactly, and also there's different resolutions. That's a good example of pragmatism. There's different resolutions of how to explain an octave. You can say it's a doubling of frequency. You can say that there's such things as the overtone series, but the truth is that when you're teaching a kid, you just need to tell him this is C, this is C. Deal with it.
He wasn't a kid, he was an engineer, a computer engineer.
That's even worse sometimes.
Yeah, I know, so I said it. Just so you'll get... It is the worst, because it's like he has to understand.
Yeah. Listen, I've taught a lot of computer engineers, and it's sitting in front of a computer all day and speaking binary puts you at such a disposition for music that you have to, quote unquote, understand what you're doing. It's such an inhibitor of growth because a lot of the things, it would make sense if music was a language that you start from the ground and move to the top. But you just start somewhere floating in the middle and the roots grow as far as the branches.
Music is it's true combination of of mind and body.
Right.
It's like you can't take the body aspect out of it, which your ears include in
Right.
it. It's like if somebody wants to play basketball and I will give him 10-year course of how to be the best basketball player, what the angles.
Right. What is the ball?
Yeah, what is the ball, how it bounces, the powers that work on the ball when it hits the rim.
That's true. For a kid, really,
Wind.
what you are teaching a child when you're teaching him an octave is like, put your finger here, put your finger there, now say C and C. Same.
Yeah.
Same, child, same. And then it's like, over time, you understand the
Yeah,
relationship.
from playing it a lot, you understand it.
But
yeah.
the truth is that there's the knowledge of a doubling of frequency is, for me, is very minuscule compared to the way octaves sound and feel. Right?
Yeah.
It's this whole idea of feeling and sound memory. It's just a way of cataloging things in your mind in a way that you can draw them out quickly. So yeah, I was starting to do this video, and I was trying to teach all of me, right? And I was going through the harmony and just saying the chords out loud. I was like, well, nobody's going to remember all this, and also it takes forever. And then I started talking about how you should memorize tunes, and I was like, I'm getting farther away from all of me. I'm talking about memorizing. And then I started to talk about the modes and what is a mode. And just and I was like 13 minutes into it in the first chord in C major. And I was like, I want to make a 30-minute video that teaches somebody the entire harmony, melody, talks about what to play over what, and then dives into the actual things that I could offer, like the way I touch the instrument, the way I articulate, the way I connect phrases, where phrases come from, how to comp. Like it's teaching. There's no such thing as teaching a jazz song, a standard. I mean, it would be boring. It would just be the melody and the harmony. And there's no how I play on this song. It's how I play on songs.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We always allude to this point that there isn't this disparity in quality if you listen to Charlie Parker or anybody, or even like Miles Davis playing All the Things You Are versus Stella by Starlight versus Nardis. They play on one level through the entire thing. I mean, it's true that some people might be more specialized in playing a blues, like Wynton Kelly really has a lot of stuff on a blues.
Or with a specific recording on a specific day, something just clicked.
Right, but in general, these are small deviations.
Yeah.
People are just, they have their playing and they carry it from tune to tune to tune, and that's just how good they are. And it's more... this art form is really how you open up songs, how you play over songs, how you play over all songs.
Yeah.
And it's not so tune specific. So I don't know, maybe it was just a bad idea, but I don't know how to
Well, I told you, I just saw 3 levels of bebop, and it was ridiculous. It was so stupid. And it was not bebop. It wasn't bebop either. Or the thing that what's his name? Jacob Collier had.
What is it?
That
Five
level of
levels
explaining harmony from a child to
to Herbie Hancock.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Herbie was just sitting there,
Oh.
looking like he's gonna pass
Yeah.
out.
But
Herbie.
yeah, it's just strange. But you see, that's what I'm saying about somebody like him too. I said that in a different way, but he just, I think it doesn't understand where the magic for him starts in music and where the tools are, and it just makes a mess. And anybody that tries to listen to him and actually follow it, as far as manifest it in the world, it's like good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these systems, good systems don't have what the appearance of infinite depth. They have the opposite thing. You know what I mean? Like a great system is not one that's like, oh my God, I can spend 500 years and just scratch the surface. A great system is there are 7 scales. Get your shit together. You know what I mean? That's a great system. There are 33 modes. Learn
And also
them.
understanding. That's why another thing that I will explain, because I have a student that always asks me basically the same question. It's like, it doesn't matter what I'm playing. He would pick a song that we played, it just ask me that about just a little bit. But when we thought about the Alabama Sock Party, and it's like, wait, it's just C7 the entire time. How do you know what to play? And I was like, oh, it's like this change. Like, how do you know what to play? And it doesn't mean the scale. It means like everything I do.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, because it's like the scale is just one resolution of it. If you just play the notes of a scale, it's like nothing will happen. It's gonna sound stupid.
Right.
It's like there are a million resolutions. You have to look at everything, and the way you do it is just. I played 1,000,000 hours, and I played a lot of songs, and some stuff, and I see it on the album. Some stuff doesn't work, including the last one too. It's just the way it is, and when you learn, and you do it better next time.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to get those kind of simplistic, reductive questions when you like for me, since I was about, I don't know, 16, I've been playing guitar most of the day. Still true. And always working on something, always trying things, always, even if when I'm making, I don't know, like always trying to push it. So to ask something like, what do you play on A7? It's like, I play everything I can, It's like,
It's like if you come and ask me, somebody that, like an American person, come and ask me, how do you speak Hebrew?
right.
And I'll be like, and because you have so many words and so many slang words and so many cultural connections, like, well, I lived in this country for most of my life, and then I read a lot of books, and I watched a lot of TV.
Talked to a lot of friends.
We talked to a lot of friends, and from different places, and did a lot of things. Went through different experiences in life in different fields. So,
Right.
yeah, that's how you do it.
It'd be more impressive if you didn't speak Hebrew.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But if somebody wants to learn it, it's impossible.
Well, it's possible. They're not going... The truth is, if you start very late, you are... I don't know what that would look like. Like if you're trying to get great at jazz. But I always think you could be the first one. I mean, just work fucking harder. Because it's like
What do you
this...
mean? If you're older?
Yeah, if you're like...
Yeah, you could. Listen, if I wanted to get my English to the level of my Hebrew, which is, it's slowly happening because my Hebrew gets worse the longer I'm here. But if I wanted to do it, I could do it. It's like I just would really have to put such an amount of effort into it that would make no sense to me.
Right. But it's a one foot in front of the other kind of situation.
Yeah.
Getting better at it. You were talking about something. Oh yeah.
Before I know what you want to say, so before we get into it. There's another thing that I noticed, and it has to do with content still, that a lot of saxophone players now, they didn't make an album, and a lot of them tried to start an album in the pandemic, but never released it, never finished it, and a lot of people, even our bass player, John, was listening, he started an album and he scrapped it. And people are not... Like, they're not good at aiming at something that's supposed to be scrutinized for years and for under repeated listening. Do you know what I mean?
It's really putting your name, signing your name to the piece.
Yeah, no, but it's more than that, because they're very good at what I'm, for example, not very good is to put something that's supposed to be played like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Right? So for me...
The
if I
disposable
try to
nature of content.
Yeah, but it's on one hand it's disposable, on the other hand there is enough work that you're putting up and you're like, hey, check this out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I can't find that resolution, that right resolution and that right level of what I think is sufficient. Even though, but for albums, it's very easy for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, that sounds good. I think that sounds good. That's pretty much where I am right now.
That's not really your process. You're like, that sounds good. Then it's out, and then you're like, I hate it. I can't listen to it.
Yeah, I'm not
Why
saying
did I do
afterwards.
that?
I'm not saying afterwards. I'm
Right.
saying at the point, like even now when I'm recording the standards, I take 1 to the most 9 takes, right? And then I'm just, yeah, that's about how I play on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I don't,
Yeah, what are you going to do?
yeah, exactly. I was like, that's about how I'm playing on it. And then I start analyzing it and why I hate it and I get sick of it. But and then I learn from it, right? It's, if I would just think, oh my God, I'm amazing, I will never get better. But the point is that it's very quick for me to get to the point where I'm like, that fits on an album. But I feel like if I needed to do something for content, I would actually have to take way more than 9 takes, which is strange, right? Because you would think that for somebody, something that stays a long time,
Yeah.
I would need more time to do. And it's just not that. It's the problem is that I don't know how to orient myself into that. And I think that a lot of musicians right now, it's the opposite. They just know how to orient themselves into content.
But not
and,
how to make
and
an
not
album.
albums. And,
Yeah, because
and-
an album has a real feeling of summation. It feels like you're concluding a period of your musical growth and saying, this is how good I am, 2020, 2021, whatever.
Yeah, or like on that day. And that's why a lot of those people, like some of them still do make albums just for the heck of it, like just because their heroes did it. And it's
Sure.
like, not even that, it's like it's something to do.
Mm-hmm.
But when you listen to it and it's like there's nothing in those albums because
Right.
they don't, I don't know, they don't know they don't understand how to make those.
Sure.
It's very strange.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I see it. I was just doing a live feed, and somebody wrote me about. I don't remember the guy's name, but you pointed him out to me that he's like a legato player. That's how he advertised himself.
Oh, a guitarist.
Yeah, it's a guitarist.
Australian maybe? Or British?
British, yeah, something. I forget his name, but he literally on his fusion it says legato fusion.
Yeah.
Like,
On
which
his
is so
website.
fucking weird. I mean, could you have like a legato saxophone player guy? It's like I barely tongue.
Yeah.
It's like you have a blues name like Tongueless Eddie
It's weird to take something very technical.
and make it your style.
Upstroke, yeah, upstroke Dani.
Yeah, upstroke Dani. I only pull off. I never hammer on him
Yeah.
like the anti-Holdsworth.
Yeah.
That's another vicious rumor that Holdsworth only hammered on. It's just not true, you know. Like all you'd have to do is listen to a Holdsworth album or look at his hand, and you'd be like, he might have said it. It might have felt like that to him, but he's certainly pulling it off. I see it. Anyway, they told me that this guy who I forget his name, but I heard his name for like the last 10 years at least. He's a known guitar player. Man, why can't I remember his name? Anyways, he's working on his debut album. He never put out one fucking album.
Yeah, a lot of those people that are famous
Like he's a
from
known
content,
guy. He's been on Jam Check Central like forever. He has all these packs on how to learn guitar, and it's insane to me that like not that you have to. I feel like it's something. It's kind of like being a virgin in your like late 30s or something. You haven't like done it, and it's become such a big thing that like
Yeah.
it's making you like you're ashamed of it, and it's like and you're more and more nervous as time progresses, and you're acting more and
Yeah,
more
I
awkward
can't
about it.
imagine how.
Just need to blast through.
Yeah, you just need to do one quick one.
Yeah,
and
go do,
do a live one.
do a dirty one.
Yeah,
Just go pay money.
yeah, and do a live one. Yeah, I agree. It's
Yeah, you just
very
got to
well.
get one out of your system, and then you're gonna just be,
And then like, oh, it's fine. Yeah,
yeah, around like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah. It's strange how many famous musicians you have now that have no famous music.
Yeah, or no music.
no music at all,
Or no
yeah.
music, just jams on YouTube and like solo competitions, like video, like Guitar Center type competitions where they're playing over a backing track. It's very bizarre shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were we saying? Oh yeah, you were telling me about
But I was thinking about porn people.
porn
Oh,
people.
that's not what you want to talk about?
No, but
That's
that's
what you want to
good.
talk
That's good. Let's talk about porn people.
Well, I stopped thinking about it after I told you, just so I can
But
think about it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the idea was that whatever we're going through, which
They're going through.
they went through already, like with the invention of the iPhone
Of
cam.
streaming.
Well,
also.
before streaming, just when, so it's like you had these amazing women who developed all these sick chops of like swallowing 17
It's
dicks.
it's not even that. It used to be an industry again, and I don't know what the industry is like now.
Well, in the VHS days, that was like the CD
yes,
equivalent.
exactly. That's what I'm about to say.
Even in Israel, there were even in the red boxes. You could, you remember the inside?
Yeah.
Like, you could. That's fucking crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
Our red boxes on the street had porn.
Yeah, I'm sure every place had it.
In the States, I can't see that.
Maybe not in the
I've-
80s.
no
Maybe
way.
not under Nancy Reagan or whatever.
No, our red boxes. Like you'd go there and like
bottom four lines.
the bottom, yeah, the four lines close to the center were just pictures of the porn VHS you could just rent. You just like go there to get like
Anal Teens 44, like stuff like that.
you're going with your parents to get Home Alone 2, and you have like Debbie Does Dallas.
Yeah, and it's funny that it's the lowest.
Eye level
yeah,
too
it's eye
for
level
like
for
a kid. You're
kids.
like, what the? Is that a fucking pussy, mom? I just thought about how fucking strange that is.
Yeah.
That's how we did things. Anyway, but yeah, these ladies.
It's not just the ladies, everybody around it, the industry around it.
Well, I'm talking. The ladies took the big hit. I'm saying, like the dudes.
Yeah. The dudes probably were never paid that well, but I'm guessing that they also got paid more.
Well, the dudes really wanted to be there and got paid something. It's basically the rhythm section of porn. It's like the bassist.
yeah, but even rhythm sections used to get paid more. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but they're like just like, hey, can I have the gig? Hey, like I'll just be a supportive role, you know?
Yeah. And then you get a solo. That's like
I'll lay it
an
down.
ass shot in old porn when they just show the ass and balls. Yeah.
That's the bass solo
Yeah.
of porn.
Yeah. It's like nobody wants to see that, but for some reason it's there. Maybe because everybody feels like you should have it.
You should have one.
Yeah.
Every band.
Every other song should have one.
Ron Jeremy's like Jacko. It's like he showed up with like a big dick, and then like everybody's gotta have like this fucking guy looks like the plumber.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, but anyways, I can't imagine like
what we're going through now. That's what I'm saying. How much money are we actually making? Is with all this content, and how are we making money? It's like, do they make money? Do the guys make money? How do they afford to pay everybody that's involved? I don't get it.
yeah, how like Gemma
Like,
Jameson
it's-
probably the shit talk that goes on between her and her friends about like Pornhub. They're like, yeah,
Well,
it's like
she's-
it's promoting everybody, but it's like, oh yeah, these.
You know what's funny too? When you say Jenna Jameson, right? Like if you think about porn stars that you knew when you were 15 or 16.
They're so old now.
Well, no, they're not. That's what I was about to say. Like a lot of them were 19 or 21 at that time. So we're like just a few years older than us.
I know,
Like
but-
some of them are not even 40. And in yours, it's like, oh my God, we're so washed up. It's like we're probably like 200 years old.
Dude, if there was,
You know?
if I put 20,000 dicks in you, you wouldn't look so fucking vibrant.
It's not about what you look at. It's just the perception of them is that we're so old.
I
But
know.
if somebody was a porn star when she was 18, when you were 16, she's 37 now.
I know.
But the way you looked at her,
is weird.
yeah, I know, it's so strange.
It is very strange. But I mean, it's like athletes. You know, if you have an athlete that age, he's old now.
No, it's not. LeBron is still,
Yeah, but
Dude.
like, but you know, you're past your prime physically.
yeah, well, yeah. How funny it is that somebody like LeBron, like when would what age would I be in the same shape as LeBron? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like when LeBron is 90 and I'm 19, Like when,
I think like he can beat your ass.
like when, but I'm saying when do we cross paths?
Like
Like the day before he dies?
3 breaths before death.
Yeah,
You can probably.
and when I was
You
21,
could probably beat him if you use speed.
I know what I'm saying. Like, when could I jump higher when LeBron? When he was 2. Because when he was 2 and I was 12, I'm sure I could jump higher than him.
Right.
So,
When he was 5 and you were at your prime.
yeah, something like that. How crazy is that?
It is crazy.
Yeah. But with porn, so it's like, how do they afford to have gangbangs now? Or orgies?
What do you mean? Like produced ones?
Well, it's like...
It's like WrestleMania
turquoise.
of porn, yeah. Oh, that's like a big funk band?
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah, you can't organize a really produced gangbang with like nice 4K cameras and multiple shots.
And you probably needs to have you have to have a bigger location because you can do like Motel 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there used to be like all these mansions in Miami or something where they would film all this stuff, and yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Now people just want to see like fucking webcam and iPhone porn.
But they
don't even care about the sound quality.
They had a time because it's weird because they're more famous, I feel like, than ever. Like if you were a famous one, like there probably was like a middle ground. Like remember when Sasha Grey was on Entourage?
Entourage, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a middle. I thought for a while that porn stars gonna start doing mainstream stuff, and it barely happened. So maybe it will still happen, but it's just.
Well, I mean, I don't know. With PP cocaine, they're blurring the people who are getting to be famous singers are blurring the line between porn and pop.
Yeah, it makes sense that it would blur. That's
Right.
what I'm saying when it becomes so.
But it's not porn people doing pop. It's just.
Maybe they have some that we just don't know about because we don't listen to this music. So I don't
Yeah.
know. But it would make perfect sense for it to happen.
Sure.
But I'm just saying it's so strange to me. Like there is no way. Like probably there used to be. I'm just thinking about the numbers because it probably used to be. Like you probably used to make good money. Like you fuck all the time, and but at the end of the year you like made a good chunk of change. And probably
Sure.
a lot of it was cash, I'm guessing. So you
Yeah.
didn't even.
You're not
so,
even paying the man.
Yeah, you're not even paying the man. So I'm guessing those people had at least like a mansion after a few years. You know, Janet Jameson was rich. Like a lot of those people for that era were rich because
Sure.
like there was a lot of money changing hands.
Sure.
But nowadays, I was like,
This is,
do you
yeah,
do
it's,
all?
like it's like the bassist from Whitesnake, you know, it's just living large.
Yeah, but it's it's like with us that if you look at musicians, oh my god, my mom told me this morning. I don't never mind the context, but she was talking to me about how Queen had a rough start.
Very rough. That was a really hard 2 years, huh?
Yeah, between 16 and 18. Oh my god, somebody was mean to him in school. It's like what? It's like yeah, like people in the industry didn't like him in the beginning. It's like yeah, one executive in Sony said, no, you guys can't make it. And then a bigger executive said, yes, here, be millionaires. And then I think it was the same for porn people, that they used to make so much money. And now, so wait with porn thing. So with us, we played so many shows, but we played more shows than most famous musicians, I feel like, played in their lifetimes.
For sure.
But they present it like, oh, you should work hard or whatever. I don't know. But they don't even understand what it means anymore. And I'm not saying that it wasn't hard. Yeah, it was hard work for their time.
Sure.
But I'm saying,
The idea, it's hard to explain to your mom that no matter how many bars you play in Topeka, you're not going to become queen.
Yes.
You know, that whole thing of proving scalability for 5 minutes and then having a very well-oiled machine, like the beast was hungry and it could just chew you up.
Even 50 years later or 60 years later, you can play, in the good case, you can play a theater. On the worst case, you can still pack a 300 capacity room with a lot of money, like City Winery.
Yeah, well, that's what Patrice O'Neill had the one brilliant thing about the nature of the beast, because he's the only one that I heard talk about the beast, and he really got it. Like the beast being a metaphor for the music machine, is that the beast.
He talks about the Hollywood machine.
But the beast, everybody is just standing in a line waiting for the beast to fucking eat them, right? eat you and to give you a bite. And the reason is the time you're in the belly of the beast, you just make a shitload of money, make like, 50 grand a week, much more if you're really famous.
Yeah.
But inevitably, it will shit you out.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people just, as soon as it shits them out,
They try to stand back in
yeah,
line.
stand back in line right again. Me. And Queen had both. Like they were in line, they got chewed up, they were in the belly for a minute. It shit them out once. They jumped back in line, and then they just stayed in the belly till Freddie Mercury died.
Yeah.
But and some people have those kind of careers. There's lots. Again, the advantage of having the beast not even interested in your brand of meat like us is that we get to thrive on, I don't know, authenticity and saying what we want and doing what we want and real freedom. The cost is that it's not as lucrative, clearly, and we will. In a lot of circumstances, I totally see us jumping in line for a very certain kind of beast. It's not really a big beast, more like a little. It's like the beast's mini-me. That's what happens in jazz. And then you kind of make money in the belly, and they kind of shit you out.
Yeah. The problem is with what we saw is that they always offer you just a little bit more than what you have. And
well, for us, they offered us nothing that made sense.
No, well, you don't know if it didn't make sense because we never took it, right? But it didn't seem like nobody came and offered, hey, I'm going to put, let's say when we made 20,000, the entire band, nobody came and said, hey, here's $400,000.
Right. They said, I can help you make 22.
Yeah, or like when now people came to us, that's not making money now, but they came to us and were like, we'll get you a van, we'll get you a booking agent, we'll get you maybe some bigger shows, but it was always just one step beyond where we are.
Right.
And it's like if somebody comes to me now and be like, hey, here's $1 million each, and you don't have to worry about money for a while now, like for years, and I'm gonna take care of it, and let's do shows, and you're gonna open up for a lot of famous bands that are not jazz fusion, obviously, because there's no famous jazz fusion bands, and let's do something, right? I'll be like, yeah, for sure, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the idea of like pay me 20% of your earnings for a potential 5% increase.
It makes no sense.
And that was always the kind of deal.
Yeah.
And
a lot of times not even an increase.
And
just I will take over the work that you're doing already.
Right. And sometimes in some rare occasions, you get to make a bad decision on paper. I see young bands that do that ends up being good because you end up working with somebody who's talented at something you are not talented in. Like you could make some decision that makes zero sense for where you're at in your career, sign with somebody, and that guy just is a great agent, gets you great gigs, doors start opening. Things do happen, I think for Turquoise, at the end of the day,
it was worth it.
This is a band of my friends. They signed with a big label, and they went from a small booking agency to a big one. And again, it got them a lot of things that I don't think they could have gotten on their own.
Yeah.
No, they didn't have a guy in the operation that was just talented in that way and in picking up the phone and also connected. You need connections if you're going to try to book Red Rocks and tour.
Even though you saw Wolfpack that did Madison Square Garden without
on their own.
Yeah,
that's fucking amazing. Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's weird. The shit is really strange. You remember we had a jazz guy that worked for a management company or booking company or whatever that have some big jazz names.
Yeah.
And he came to our show and stole a T-shirt from Dani.
He shook me down. That was so fucking weird.
Tell what happened. Tell him what happened.
Well, I don't.
Don't worry, we're not working with him. He's probably dead from COVID.
We were in New York. He basically he like emailed me like, let's meet before the show, and we set up a meeting, and he brought this guy that he represents too.
Well, the way it happened is that the way we got connected is we had a few shows in the East Coast on part of the tour, and he wanted one of his guys to open for us. Mm-hmm. So that's how we got connected.
Did you say no?
Yeah, because it didn't make any sense.
Right.
And then, but that's how we started talking, and then we talked about maybe
It was
we'll
like
do
an
something
old guy
together.
with white hair and like a leather bracelet that I remember, like white long hair, and he just looked like he was a rocker in the '80s.
Yeah.
That now is a business guy, but I just remember he came to the merch.
He wasn't a business
Yeah,
guy,
he
though.
came to
He's
the
kinda
merch table,
broke.
and he was like, "Hey, like, what did he say? Like, I'll have an extra large," and I gave him a T-shirt.
And I thought he just was like, hey, can I see a shirt? Can I have a shirt?
Oh, yeah, can I see a shirt?
And
Yeah.
then he's like, oh, no, extra large.
Yeah.
And then he's like, thank you.
It's like, oh, that's free. Okay, you're welcome. So fucking awkward. It's such a
But
just
with
advice. If you want to appear luxurious as a manager, pay for your fucking T-shirt.
But we talked to him about doing stuff, and then I actually think I learned something from him, because he asked me, well, a bunch of people did that, asked me about our numbers, right? And it's funny, because I remember I sent him like, oh, we just sold like, I don't know, 70 tickets in Minneapolis, and when we had like 90 tickets in Marquette, Michigan, and when we had something good also, I don't remember, like North Dakota, whatever, we sold like, I don't know, 40 tickets in Fargo, and it was just like pretty consistent numbers,
Sure.
right? But for me, it was so crazy, because I know that a lot of people that work with him will not sell 2 tickets where we're selling tickets.
Sure, but they don't have. That's the big. It's the Mark Twain thing. There are lies, damn lies, and
Yeah.
statistics, and statistics are fucking crazy because we have data because we collect it ourselves, but it's not. It doesn't behoove you to have data the same way it doesn't behoove Rick Beato to have a video of himself playing guitar, because at this level of the game, you're competing with people who don't have data.
Yes,
so the
exactly.
fantasy of how much they could sell is stronger than what you are actually
And they
selling.
don't book them in the space anyway. That's the funny
Right.
thing
So the guy
about
from
it.
New York City, when he sees, oh, you sold just 90 tickets in Minot,
In
Marquette,
Yeah.
Upper Peninsula of Michigan, that's not a lot. It's like, dude, if you send some of your acts to fucking
but
Marquette,
even-
you are selling zero.
But even some shows, it's like, some shows didn't have a lot of people. We played in Idaho, and we sold maybe, I don't know, 36 tickets, maybe 29 tickets, I don't remember, like something around
Sure.
the 30 number, right? Which was great. It's like we got all the money, it's $15 a ticket. It was, we got 100%.
But those
of it.
fuckers are
So, but wait, and sold merch. But the point is, it's like, yeah, I played a Monday in Idaho, and you're like, oh, but you only sold 20-something tickets. It's like, that's not numbers I can show anybody or deal with. It's like,
Yeah, but it's like because you and your boss and your boss's boss don't fucking know what Idaho is. You don't know what reality is, and you don't send anybody to these places.
Again,
What
to
we're
Jerome,
proving
Idaho,
that, like in
Pocatello,
a town of 1,500 people, we can draw like a percentile of the fucking population.
yeah.
and we do it everywhere.
In a place where people don't have any jazz education, don't have any jazz anything.
Right.
And it's weird, but he still wants his guy to open for us.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And also he talked to me about the guy, how great this guy is in selling tickets. What did he say? He plays like in a jazz club in town. It's not really jazz, but he plays like in a jazz club in town or in a club in town. And he would go before to all the hotels.
Hostels.
No, hotels. And talk to the concierge.
Oh, yeah.
And will tell them, hey, I'm playing a jazz show. When tourists come over and ask what to do tonight, like send them my way. And he
Right.
gives them the details about his show. And sells himself to the hotel workers.
Right.
Goes to the fancy hotels or whatever.
Again, if you
And-
scam your way into an audience of fucking Chinese people with like Canon cameras just sitting, like that's not the same as having fans. You know what I mean? Our shows are for Marbin fans.
We also play too much. It's like this guy just plays around where he lives. So yeah, he makes the drive to Philly. And again, good for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but I'm saying good for him. It's like good for you for doing it and making what you can. This life is tough. But I'm saying for your manager
I'm not
to...
talking it down. I'm just saying it's not the same.
I'm
as
saying
what
for
we
the
do.
manager to compare it to what we do.
Right.
And to compare with other people that never played this part of the country and never played those many shows. It's like, that's another thing that I tell people that he doesn't understand. Like, last show in New York wasn't as good. Yeah, I think it's also because it was in City Winery. That
City
people
Winery
really didn't like.
sucks.
And we didn't sell many tickets. We sold like 50 or 60, something like
60,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's, it wasn't good for us from New York, because New York we should hit 100 at least. And it was, but I explained to this person, yeah, but we play New York every year. It's like not everybody comes, the biggest fan won't come to every show you play.
Yeah, I still remember that fucking Holdsworth tour where I had that shocking thing. It was like, the guy comes up to me and he's like, I am the biggest Holdsworth fan. When we were opening for Alan, I'm the biggest Holdsworth fan in the world. I've seen him at least 8 times. It's like he came to Iridium every year, basically.
For a few days.
For 3 days. So he played here probably 40 times in the time you've been here, and you saw him 8 times. That's a lot.
But he's right. Somebody that, let's say, buys all your buys all your DVDs, all your CDs, all your books, all your shirts, come to a chunk of shows.
Right.
It's like, and Alan's shows are expensive. It's not like our shows.
I'm just saying it's a ton, but that still means that if you have a career, you can't expect the same people to come every time. You have to grow.
Even the
You
biggest
have to-
fans. Yeah, even your biggest fans.
Your biggest. I'm not saying he's not the biggest fan. I'm just saying it was a moment where I understood what having fans is like.
Yeah.
Because you can't expect them to be there every time.
I know, and I explained to this guy, and for them, it's like they don't understand how ridiculous it is to think that every show you're just gonna get bigger. It's like, oh, last show in New York I had 102, so this show I have to have like
106.
140.
Or your band is falling apart.
Like, it happened to us in Seattle a few times, and when the last show wasn't as good, it was still good, but it wasn't as good, and it was different thing. We had the reasons why it wasn't, but it was still great.
Right.
And still have a chunk of people that saw us before, and and sometimes it happens. And when we had a show like in Houston, that we had the most we ever had in Houston, because a lot of people, like we had people from 4 shows ago and 3 shows ago and 2 shows ago and 1 show.
Well,
and
there was a
new people.
period where we didn't play Chicago for years, and then we played one show at
And it
Regis
was-
and sold it out.
yeah, and it was
like,
humongous,
Yeah, it was like
yeah.
300 something people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you do it every year, it's like, yeah, you grow, but you don't, unless something happens, like you win a Grammy, or like you get something like Snarky Puppy happened to them with video.
YouTube exploding.
Yeah, it's like you don't go exponentially, you just go a little bit and a little bit and a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Sting was talking about. I remember seeing an interview with him, and he was saying about how few of the people that come to his shows are fans of his singing and songwriting, for real. Because and he was explaining that like there are a few people who really love what he does, but a lot of them love obviously the hits. And then also, people don't travel alone, especially to a Sting show. You bring your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, your mother, your aunt, whoever, and it's like, when you take a look at this is the real tragedy of fusion.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
we have a lot of people that will just come alone.
right?
Yeah.
That's like it's really a day.
It's ton of people.
It's
We
not
see
a
them
bring.
tickets.
It's not a bring your wife to the gig kind of event. For
Which
a
is
lot
too
of
bad,
people.
because the wives do like it.
Yeah. That's why we made story time.
Yeah, it's not why, but they do like it.
They do. Yeah, I don't know. I think our show is family friendly to the whole family.
Yeah, above a certain age, yeah.
Yeah.
Like high school and up, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, kids love it too. But yeah,
So,
the
yeah,
story
for
time
kids,
could
a
be
little much.
intense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I cuss a
Yeah.
lot. But the analogy to porn is just so perfect. I mean, I totally can imagine.
Because there's also this mystery around what they make. It's like, I don't believe what I read, but because I Googled it, and it's like, I saw the numbers, which are not impressive. Mm-hmm. And also, if you look at the richest porn stars, they're all from a different generation.
They're probably just giving advice the way like Jimmy Haslip talks about the Yellow Jackets.
Or Chico Red.
Oh, you just
all
you
those
know, you
people.
just open your legs, let like a train of people through, and
you're
next
rich.
thing you do, like
Yeah, you have like your vagina made out of silicone, and you just sell it. And everybody buys it
yeah,
in stores.
Jesus, yeah.
But I'm wondering if they do have a way to make money, like the OnlyFans, or I don't know what it is. I never been on OnlyFans. I just heard a lot of people mention it, especially Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really understand what OnlyFans is. Is it like paywall for specific content, or is it you interact with the fans?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm saying, like, why would you pay for it? It's like, I don't get whoever pays for it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's people. I mean, I've seen people go insane at like we had a friend that went to a strip club and fell in love with a stripper. Her name was Nicola, and we nicknamed her Nicola Ebola. And he was so infatuated with her for a few hours that he had to run to the bathroom and create a diaper out of toilet paper, and
So you can count his pants.
yeah, basically, it through repetitive lap dancing. So after observing this behavior, I understand OnlyFans. I see.
No, but I'm saying I don't know, but it's not a lap dance, right? It's not like they go one by one. And
No, but they could get so obsessed, I think, with just a lady online. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand who pays
it's
for
like
porn
like
in
what,
the last 20
but
years.
I'm saying, what do you get obsessed with? It's like, oh my god, I want her to have my kids. It's like, you know what I'm saying? In what way are you obsessed?
You're not on the right wavelength there.
I wanna put my pee in her and shoot.
I just
shoot,
I don't
shoot
think
my pee juice. It's just I don't get it.
I think they just want this lady to interact with them through the camera
It's so weird
directly,
to me.
like as if they exist. I don't know what's going on there. It's not good.
So you're saying that so it's basically like doing a live feed.
It's what Patreon is for like musicians. It's the same thing.
Is it well?
I think so.
Patreon was so crazy. Like talking about you talked about Jordan Peterson. It's like him making all of money on Patreon. It was one of the things that it broke my brain. I was
Just
like,
for being
why would
himself?
anybody give him money? Like why? For what? Like what is this guy getting paid for? It did really.
To make more of the same.
More what? But he's been making
Content.
it.
Yeah, well, it's like I'm not making a lot of money doing this.
He made
live.
enough money.
I know.
That's how as far as I'm concerned, he had enough money.
He was just like, I need more money. Would you give me more money? And it's like, here's a platform.
And when
where you can give
everybody
me
was
money.
like, everybody like, yeah, sure.
I never gave him money.
Yeah, me either. Why would you?
I don't know. Some people like giving people money.
Why won't they give us money though?
I just don't think they like giving us money.
Yeah.
I think it's because we're Jewish. Maybe they think we have enough.
Yeah, but it's like when
It's a
you
mean
Patreon
stereotype.
and don't you see like how much a person makes on Patreon, or do you not? I don't know.
I don't think you do.
But after a while, that you hear this guy's making a lot of money.
I mean, he had a worldwide bestseller. He's okay.
Yeah, it's like why would you just? Maybe a lot of people stopped, but it's like why would you ever do it?
I don't know. It's very bizarre. I never did it. I'm never gonna do it.
Yeah, obviously, I never did to anybody, but definitely not him. But I'm saying it's like it just makes no sense to me. And it's also made no sense to us. That's why we never were able to push it. We did the subscribe thing, but we were trying to get to like how much? 80 something?
We got to 80.
Yeah, but we never got to our goal, which is to pay our insurance.
Our car insurance through YouTube.
Through $1. We
YouTube.
have 300,000 people following the page, and we can't get 100 people to put $1 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not how.
Well, we should have done like $20 and have 4 people do it. And
Would have made
probably
more sense.
More sense. But it's just the $1 when you see the 300,000 people, it's perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
But
just perfect.
it didn't end up happening the way we.
But it's still
hoped.
funny, and it still will get money from it. So I'm happy about it. But some people give us $1.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because if they saw you somebody playing like you on the street, they would give. We used to play on the street, and we used to get a ton of money on the street.
Right.
Like, not ton of money in like, oh, we're rich, but ton of money in the sense like we would have sometimes hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
You know, and we would
In our
make
bag.
more than the gig,
That's so amazing because we also like. I don't know if you guys.
especially in Charlottesville.
If you ever play it on the street, playing on the street, we talked about it before, makes you.
you have
tough.
to do it. You have to do it.
It's an experience that if you feel like you're above, you are far below.
Yeah, you have to do it.
Because you get to learn about, first of all, not relying on a room, not needing any reflections, just you and your sound evaporating
Yeah,
into air,
immediately,
right? Which
yeah.
is just could be devastating in the beginning, but you also learn a lot about how homeless flock around a bag of cash
Yeah.
and of $1 bills like a bunch of fucking vultures.
Yeah.
They can't help it. You know, like you start playing, and if you're
And then
doing well,
they start
just
dancing and
start
singing
dancing,
and-
and they're just getting closer to the cash, and they're just circling you like a buzzard, like money,
Chain,
$1 $1 bills. my favorite. It's like, dude, it was so crazy. So many times. We never got a snatch and like what do
Yeah.
you call it? A snatch and run
Yeah.
or grab and
Grab
run,
and run or something.
whatever
Yeah.
they call it. They had a name for
Well,
something.
we also were careful about it. But
Yeah, well, we were giving them. Danny was giving them IDFIs.
Yeah. But
Stay away from my dollars.
yeah, but we make good money. Not every time it was hundreds of dollars, obviously, but we always made like a good amount of money that will be like, oh, we're at least paying for a meal.
You know what?
Which was when a lot
I never felt embarrassed playing on the street.
until this guy recognized us.
No. Well, that was fine. But there was one thing that would happen that was just such a fucking. It was so cartoonish that it always embarrassed the shit out of me when the wind would carry a single dollar, and I'd have to run after a dollar on the street holding a guitar.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, my dollar, my dollar. Like something about that whole scene was just the most embarrassing fucking shit.
It really helped us survive at 2015. Really, that's how we survived it. And before
Dude, we
that
made
too.
a lot of money and the man got none of it.
Again, people don't understand how when in the beginning you make no money. It's like if you can pay for your lunch, you're like, and
We made more than on the gigs.
yeah, because we didn't make enough to pay for our lunch on the gig. That's
Yeah.
exactly that, and we have to pay the musicians. So
Again, for me, that's how I learned how to play standards.
Yeah.
I did not know how to play
no, we
standards
learned a lot
before.
from it, and we played all day long. It was great.
Yeah, it was like 3, 4, 5 hours a
Yeah.
day of playing on the street. And it's like, this place sucks.
How did
Let's
this
move
get?
there.
How do we got to do playing on the street? I had a point about it, but now I don't
How
know.
did we start?
Like,
Oh, how did you get here?
yeah,
Patreon.
Patreon. Yeah, oh yeah, that we play on the street, and people will give us good amount of money.
Right.
And we usually would not get $1. Like we usually not get less than $2 from people, and a lot of times somebody would throw at 20, and sometimes even more. But when you play live feeds for everybody every day, they won't even give you $1 a month. That's how crazy it is.
Well,
It's like what you change.
and the funny thing is that in a live feed, they actually sit there and listen to you. Or
And on the
put you
street,
on
a lot of
screen.
people just listen for a song or
Yeah,
two
a
because they don't have time.
second. A second. They just run by. It's like, good job.
Oh, that's awesome.
Boom.
Yeah. Or like, oh, I listened to it from my porch. It made my day.
Right.
Like when you play in a place like Charlottesville
That's
or
when
something.
you get a 20.
Yeah. But how crazy it is. It's like what you can't convince people. Like you basically do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't convince people to give you $1 a month.
I still think that content will eventually go to this place of live feeds, and I don't see a choice. Because listen, right now everybody is producing every kind of lesson there is on every level there is for free on YouTube, just to get the clicks. There will come a time soon where it will reach the critical mass where every type of lesson about everything will be available. And
Yeah.
then what? Because they're not making new knowledge, new information. Right?
The opposite.
Right now.
Making less.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you look at you can learn how to play Metallica songs. There's a tutorial on every single Metallica song ever written by multiple people.
I'm
And
guessing there are people that every time a hit comes out, they immediately run and make
Of course, it has to be that way. But I'm saying that people's tastes are not growing at a rate that is that is equal
To the rate of
the
content
rate of
makers.
content makers
Yeah.
making the content. So what I see is eventually it will have to create a reality where the value of content starts becoming so deflated that the only path forward is either making things of the moment or
But I disagree with you because that's not the value of content. The value of content is that somebody is on their phone all the time and you are the one that has their attention.
I understand, but I'm saying, how can you have the attention forever? Like, how can... Again, the people will have to be more and more creative with what they put out, to grab the attention, because, I don't know, for me...
Yeah, we have to be crazier. Yeah, that's true. But it'll be harder to compete. It's already harder to compete because there are so many people that are doing it. So like if you want to teach... I think that you can definitely teach guitar better than everybody on the internet. But if you did a lesson, hey, this is how you shred, and you really went through like 100 hours of you explaining something and showing everything, nobody would see it because there are a million other videos in the search.
Sure, and there are other criteria. I get it. Like, dude, it's much more pleasing to the eye to watch like a $3,000 Sony camera with a nice lens where the background is a little bit out of focus and the color's all corrected, and it's a professional studio.
And stuff pops up and the examples are
and
shown.
tabbed out on the thing, just it makes you feel like if you were to be learning, it would be easy.
Yeah,
But
I actually hate it because it makes me feel like I'm a child, like I'm in daycare or something, and they're
I was listening to a lesson yesterday on YouTube at night about somebody explaining about Oscar Peterson and block chords and how he's playing How High the Moon, like George Shearing style, to where every note of a melody is like in closed position. And I was just thinking, like, Jesus, man, this is such a, like, I keep saying this, but why am I not interacting with the material directly? Why do I have this fucking guy who probably can't play going to the restaurant and throwing up the food in my mouth?
It's too overwhelming.
But it's not. But it's not.
Not for you.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. It's like the truth is music.
Yeah, you can chew what you can.
Huh?
You can chew what you can at the
Yeah,
time,
it's
and
like
then go back to Oscar
But
Peterson.
it's not. I just know the people. I know students, so I can't. I know so many students, and I've taught so much that I just know something about people. People that study on YouTube don't then go and compensate with an equal amount of time of dealing with the materials directly. They do it instead of it.
Yeah, obviously.
And you get addicted to people's interpretations because they're easier to ingest. It's almost like listening to Oscar Peterson makes you deal with uncomfortable things. Like it's like drinking from a fire hydrant or staring at the sun. Everything's too good, too bright, too this. You need somebody to section it off for you. But the truth is, it's not true. You need to interact with greatness directly.
Yeah, and take what you can at this point.
Or the whole osmosis of music will not work. Because at the end of the day, you're just studying this douche's interpretation of it. You're not studying the guy. The guy doesn't know how to do what that guy does.
Yeah, and a lot of times, that's another thing about the internet. It's not like what's best rises to the top. It's what first rises to the top and what has the best tagline rises to the top.
Right.
So if
What's easy?
Well, it's like if you look like how to play like Oscar Peterson, you're gonna have maybe million videos, but there are a few that were there first, so they got more views. So YouTube shows it first, and if there is a good thumbnail, this person just will get all of it. Mm-hmm. And we see it everywhere. It's a Juke Joint is our most played song on Spotify. And I'm not talking about playlists because Spotify completely is bullshit, like we talked about. So it's like most people, whatever is played is whatever was on Spotify playlist. So we were not on Spotify playlist. So Juke Joint was our most popular song. Just because it happened, because it got 10 more plays one time. And just everybody that goes there presses our most popular song and it makes it more popular. And it's just, not because it's our best song, it's not.
Right.
And definitely not that version of it.
Right.
It's just the way it happened.
Yeah. Anyways. How are we doing on time?
Yeah, let's
wrap up. Okay, cool. So we are on youtube.com/MarbinMusic, Facebook.com/MarbinMusic. No longer on Instagram, unfortunately. Maybe
we'll
that
come
will
back.
change. Who knows? Keep checking. And then
Twitter.
Yeah.
But we don't tweet.
We don't tweet. Sign up for the podcast. Give us a 5-star rating. Write a review. Find our Sonic Vids, our MySpace. And most importantly, buy music at marbinmusic.bandcamp.com.
What was the idea of Reverb Nation for the life of me? To find other musicians?
Who fucking
But you have
knows?
also bands?
Who fucking knows?
So weird.
Terrible.
You remember we had like the fan something that your song could get on fire?
Yeah.
Fan something?
Vandalism.
Vandalism. How fun is that?
Is that still a thing? I don't think so.
I would not know. But we had a bunch of songs on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're on fire. All right, guys. See you next time.